Have you seen the McDonald's Happy Meal that's making headlines right now because of its astonishing refusal to decompose? A New York woman says that she bought the burger and fries in April and has been a little surprised by the meal's apparent lifespan. ABC's Rob Nelson tells us the story.
This meal isn't just happy. According to one New York artist, it's also indestructible.
I still have it here and it's not molding.
Meet Sally Davies, a photographer and vegetarian who enjoys the occasional McDonald's French fry. After reading an article about a 12-year-old McDonald's burger, she was curious to see if the famous patty could really last that long.
I went out, I bought the burger, I brought it home, I put it from the bag onto a white china plate, which it's still on, and I took a picture of it.
And another picture and another. 6 months worth, she says. So how does that burger and fries look on day 180? Well, about the same.
The meat patty shrank a lot as it dried out, and that's kind of it. It really hasn't changed.
This, of course, is not a scientific survey, but what does it say that the burger and fries are still mold-free 6 months later? In a statement, McDonald's told GMA, "It is not possible to provide a detailed explanation regarding these claims without knowing the conditions in which these food items were kept. With stringent procedures for handling and storage, we work hard to minimize any exposure that would contribute to the presence of mold, bacteria, or other microorganisms." This is not the first time the Golden Arches ingredients have been examined. Morgan Spurlock's 2004 film Super Size Me chronicles his month of Big Mac binging. After eating 3 full McDonald's meals every day, he gained almost 25 pounds, along with a slew of other side effects.
If it's not growing out of the ground and you didn't make it, it's probably full of stuff that you don't really want to eat.
Well, McDonald's also says their hamburger patties in the United States are made with 100% USDA-inspected beef.
Wow. That's really amazing. Bottom line is that food should not stay. Now, whether that is real or not, food should not be able to sit. As a matter of fact, food should only be able to stay for about 5 days.
In its current form, and then it starts to decompose?
To consume it, and then it should start to decompose, mold, or do whatever.
Yeah.
Closest thing to Mother Nature is the food that our body wants. Yeah. And I strongly believe that.
Well, a lot of you have opinions on this one, and on our Smart Family 15 Facebook and Twitter pages, it's just been going nuts today. Stacy Dillon tells us on Twitter, "No way! Totally makes you think twice. Teaches us not to eat on the run so much." Ashley Morrow says, "Black! I saw that. Very, very scary. It reinforces my fear of McDonald's and fast food in general." And Jen B says, "Why does this surprise anyone? Anybody that thinks they are getting healthy food or food that's not bad for you when they order any fast food restaurant needs a serious wake-up call." And Monique Stewart-Tink says, "Yak! Anything that does not decompose is scary. What are they serving? Thank God I never eat at McDonald's." Well, tell us what you think right now. Facebook.com/SmartFamily15 and on Twitter at SmartFamily15. We just love to hear your opinions. So log in and let's chat.
Well, so some very good comments, I have to say. We got a lot of comments on Facebook, especially last night. I was reading through those. Very interesting topic. So, what's really in that burger and fries? And what are you really eating in your food? Well, this is why Sharon Sass joins us from the Arizona Department of Health. Thank you for joining us, Sharon. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Okay, so what do you think about all this? Have you seen the story?
I have seen the story, and it certainly isn't appetizing. And it certainly is not anything that you would eat.
You know what? I have one question for you. What could possibly make a hamburger, fresh meat, stay for 6 months?
Well, I think what you're looking at there is a food that's dehydrated. It's just dried out. So it's a little bit like a grape that becomes a raisin.
Okay.
It's a little bit like an apricot. If you're going to dry meats, it really takes careful kind of care if you're going to eat it. And in the olden days, of course, they ate a lot of dried meats.
Right.
But simply it has a lot to do with the moisture content of it. I think the bun is interesting because if you make a loaf of bread at home, you know how it can mold pretty quickly if you don't eat it? Right.
3 to 4 days.
And one of the things that can happen is if you think of that slice of homemade bread, it has a lot of moisture in it.
Right.
That will make it mold more quickly.
Okay, but
other kinds of breads will have less moisture in them because they have to be a little harder. Think of a hamburger bun with the crust.
Right.
And it has a lower moisture content and may take take longer to mold. So it simply was food that was dried out. You certainly wouldn't eat any food that had been around for 6 months.
Right, exactly.
Of any kind.
So, but is it safe for our bodies to be eating that? I mean, you know, is that safe?
After 6 months?
Yeah. Well, you know, you're saying that it's dried out fruit, so I'm thinking about, like, you know, cranberries are dried out. I know that sausages, sometimes they dry that out, and that can sit for years.
Sure.
Is that bad for your body?
No, certainly dried foods, if they're done correctly.
Okay.
But I think the thing with fresh food that you buy at a restaurant, you certainly want to eat it within 2 hours, and you would never try to dry that yourself.
No.
But I think back to the perhaps your question has to do with how often people eat out and what they eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, kids don't go to the zoo every day, do they?
No.
No. So it could be that the eating the fast foods is something that you just do sometimes.
Right.
You don't do it every day. You don't go to the zoo every day.
Right. Or you wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure that there are some people that like to go to the zoo every day.
It would be fun. I think another thing is when you're at the fast food restaurant, being sure you make good choices.
Okay.
For example, you can have 1% low-fat milk instead of a sugary drink.
Right, right. So what would you recommend in terms of eating out once in a while and make sure to make your burgers or food at home?
I think both of those are good suggestions, but I think another thing is when you do eat out, make good choices. For example, you can often get apple slices or veggie slices instead of fries. Mm-hmm. So make the best choice you can.
Okay, one real quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that our government may be changing some of these rules in terms of preserving and the food preservatives? I know that there's been a huge debate with, like, movie popcorn and French fries, you know, the type of oils that you use. Do you think maybe they might address that one?
One of the most exciting things is that we know next year that all restaurants that have more than 20 locations will have to provide nutrient information on their restaurant items.
Okay.
And I think that will give you and everybody else a lot more information for making healthy choices.
Okay, Sharon, thank you so much for joining us. Great advice. I love that. That was very interesting topic. So we are continuing to discuss this online, the whole burger issue, on our Facebook 15, Smart Family 15, and Twitter Smart Family 15. And here's some really interesting comments. Cynthia Ong Dorfman says, you have to see that DVD about our food is really treated and prepared. Is ignorance bliss or knowledge power? Interesting. I think knowledge is power there for me. And Jane Greenwell France says, read Fast Food Nation. I wonder if the burger and fries are still on her counter. Could be. At Lynn's store, she tells us that. I love that. Knowing that it is McDonald's, I believe it. I wouldn't eat anything of theirs except maybe salad. That meat is nasty. So, some pretty good comments there, Connie.
Lots of comments from people today. It is just amazing to know that was sitting on a counter for 6 months and looks the way it does.
Scary.
Keeps people talking. Hey, when we return here on Smart Family,